Hi, welcome to the Brickfilmers Guild podcast, hosted by us, the Four Monkeys. On this podcast, we had the extreme pleasure of chatting with Kris, Kurtis, and Amy Theorin of Something's Awry Productions, also known as Bionicle 28. They are a family production team that works with national companies and small businesses in order to help them achieve their marketing goals. They are also responsible for creating several witty and well-crafted brick films that have done very well in many film festivals. Check out their website and YouTube channel to see the list of amazing brick films they have created. Their YouTube channel, Bionicle 28, was created in December 2008. It has been rebranded as Something's Awry Productions and currently has over 10,000 subscribers and over 4 million views. In 2012, Bionicle 28 won the Brickfilmers Guild Brickfilmer of the Year. This podcast is sponsored by Brickflix. Brickflix is a comprehensive guide to making your own stop-motion Lego movies. It's over 200 pages of useful brick filming tips. This book will show you how to make a stop-motion movie using little more than a camera, a computer, and your own Lego collection. Much of the photography in this book was produced by the talented Paul Hollingsworth of Digital Wizard Studio. It's an awesome book filled with loads of helpful information. It's also a fun read and definitely worth checking out. I really can't recommend this book enough. It is amazing. So, without further ado, here's our conversation with Kris, Kurtis, and Amy. Welcome, Amy, Kris, and Kurtis. Thanks so much for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's kind of been long overdue. We've been looking forward to talking to you guys. And obviously we've been fans for a long time and been following your work right from the beginning, so this is exciting.
Well,
thank you for that.
So you guys are called Something's Awry, is that correct?
Yep, Something's Awry Productions.
And when did you guys come up with that?
I don't know. I came up with the name sometime in, I guess, like early high school, maybe a bit before that. And basically I was like, it's one of those things when you make home movies as a kid that you put on, produced by whatever your fun studio name you made up with when you're 12. And then somehow we just kind of stuck with the name and it became sort of official because we used it on actual projects.
Okay.
And now we even have a logo.
Yeah, now we have a logo.
Really official.
Yeah, it looks great too. I'm looking at it right now.
And I presume the Bionicle 28 name was something before that, something when you made your YouTube account?
That was Kris.
Yeah. That I came up with, that was a name I came up with when I first started the account about, I think, 8 years ago, around when I was 10, because I like Bionicles, and 28 was just a random number I chose. I don't really know why, but I've been stuck with that name for quite a while.
And I still think of you guys as Bionicle 28, so I'm sure a lot of people do. You kind of get one name in your head and that's it, but hey, as long as somebody recognizes you, it's all good, right?
Yep.
Cool. So when you were 10, is that when you started doing brick filming? I'm assuming.
Yeah. I pretty much started around that time. I'd seen other sort of Star Wars Lego films online, like Squad 42 and stuff like that. And so I was basically inspired, like everyone else, to make their own sort of Star Wars Lego film, because it's a pretty cool thing to do. So that's basically how I got started. I also first started out animating my Bionicles, and so that made my name more relevant. And that's basically how it all started.
Very cool.
Excellent. And Kurtis, do you brick film actually do any of the stop motion animation yourself?
No, Kris does all the animation. I do all the writing.
All the writing.
Have you ever done any stop motion animation?
I've attempted. Well, yeah, I've some, very little. It's time consuming.
It is, and actually, I'm the only one in our family that has never done any stop motion animation. And I'm okay with that.
As the voice actor.
And the voices, I do that too. So.
Right. Which is very important.
Who wrote, what was it, Lagonda?
That was me.
And this is Kurtis?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a nice little story about that. We saw that at the, Brickflix. And it was what we were singing the whole way back to our hotel.
Oh, so. For weeks. We were singing that song for weeks in our house, all of us, just at different times.
That's funny. Yes, it's very catchy. My husband actually wrote the music for that, and Kurtis wrote the lyrics, and then a friend of ours who's a singer we recorded him singing it, so it was pretty funny.
Yeah, if you had a penny for every time somebody sang that, you could retire just on the amount of times we sang it alone. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a highlight of that Brickflix that year.
Yeah, shame we didn't get to see you guys there.
Yeah. We haven't made it down there yet, but someday.
Hopefully they'll get started again. They kind of did a smaller version this year that was just done in association with another brick festival, but hopefully they'll be back in Raleigh very soon.
Yeah, that would be great. That's definitely drivable.
Of course, we'd like everybody to come to Atlanta so that we can actually, meet everybody and not be here in the jungle all by ourselves.
So one of your more recent brick films was The Adventures of Kentucky Jackson.
Yep.
And this was just done for your own YouTube channel personally, because I believe you're doing a bunch of commission work these days.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, done for both. It was a lot of the stuff that our commercial work, when we do stuff for, say, Lego, we have to basically send them samples saying, like, look, here's all this stuff we've done. We can totally do whatever you're thinking about. And so we realized, part of it was we realized, we basically been sending them the same samples for a year or two. And then the other part was like, this would be a fun thing to do because we've been doing so much like commissioned work recently.
Yeah, what's interesting about this film is that it's actually the first brick film I've made in the past 4 years that hasn't been done for some sort of contest or Lego commissioned work and stuff like that since Call for Glue.
Yeah, we were not going to try to... I kind of wanted Dave to pronounce it. It's funny to hear him say.
That's another one of my favorite brick films. I loved it. I loved that one.
Thank you.
Of course, all of your work is fantastic. So, big kudos to everything you guys do. It's all amazing, and we're proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Cool. So let's see. You recently also worked on a collaboration with, I guess it was about a dozen or maybe Brickfilmers or so. This was Bricks Brought to Life, I guess, headed up this project. It was the Rogue One trailer?
Yep, that's correct.
Did he reach out to you guys, or was it kind of like, hey, does anybody want to help me, or?
Yeah, so a bunch of months ago, back in early December, he had sent out an email to some of the to a bunch of different Lego animators asking if they would be interested in doing a Rogue One recreation trailer, because he had heard that the trailer was actually gonna come out when Star Wars 7 came out. And so that didn't end up happening, so the project was kind of quiet for a while until they finally released the trailer in May or sometime around there. And so everyone who was free then kind of sort of ran together and got the thing done in about a few weeks, because there were some pretty big shots in there that some people unfortunately got stuck with doing.
Yeah, the idea, I believe, was that instead of the person, instead of being that one random person on YouTube who throws together some half-baked Lego creation of a recent trailer, that it would be a bunch of professional people doing it. So to get the views on that, because there's always going to be the Lego version of the latest trailer.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
and that turned out to be huge. You guys did such a great job. Everybody who did their part was just beyond amazing.
And your work was CGI on that, is that correct?
Yeah, I had my part wasn't that big on this since I wasn't able to do any animation at the time. But I had one shot in there that I did which was the second Death Star shot, where you see the big wide establishing shot of the dish being put into the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only shot in the thing, but that was a lot of iterations I had to do of that, getting the size right and things like that.
Well, it looked great. It looked great, definitely.
Thanks.
Another, I guess, non-Lego project that's been up on your YouTube channel was, I guess it's the Thumb Drift, the Hot Wheels cars on the counter.
Which we just watched again. Love it.
Oh, well,
Thanks.
we're coming out with
Stay
a new
tuned.
one tonight, I think, or tomorrow.
Oh,
They're
awesome. And is that some commission that you worked with, I guess, a maker of a game for a phone?
Yeah, it was.
So we were contacted by SMG Studios in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and they were putting together this Thumb Drift game, which is like a racing game or drifting racing game. And they wanted originally a stop motion, sort of trailer for it. But when we looked at it, Kris decided that it would be better to do it with more, I don't know, what do you call it?
It was basically just green screen, taking out the various supports that move the cars and a few other bricks.
Yeah, so originally it was supposed to be stop motion, but he felt it was better to do it this other way, and they did a great job, and it seemed to be really popular. It has like over 3 million views, and
Not on our channel.
Yeah.
not on our channel, on
Elsewhere.
their stuff, and it was picked up by some of the drifting.
Yeah, we
Cool.
Wow.
we got into the drifting sub-community a little bit, and although they had some concerns about whether these cars actually sounded like an 8-cylinder engine as opposed to a 4-cylinder engine, they seem to enjoy it. So.
So we've done 2 other videos for them. One is the sort of the second in the trilogy, and then the new one is coming out soon because they just released an update of the game. So it should be out in like the next day or so.
Awesome.
So what you're saying, none of that was stop motion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, some of it look like that at some point, but it's all just filmed live action with my DSLR, and then most of it's just the process of taking out the pencil I move the cars around with, and just a bunch of strategic camera placements to make it look like it's actually moving.
Okay. I mean, I know the one part where it went through the cereal, I knew that was definitely live action, but you had me fooled the rest of the way. I thought that was stop motion the whole way. Kudos.
Mission accomplished.
Well, why don't we get into a little geek talk, get that out of the way, kind of our part where we talk about the equipment kind of stuff you use. What kind of computer or computers are you using to do some of your stop motion and editing?
So I do all the effects, editing, sound, and all that on my 15-inch MacBook Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been like that for quite a while now. Before that, it was just an older laptop I had. But basically all that is done right on my laptop, in addition to a Canon 60D that I have that I used to do all my stop motion and most of my live action stuff.
Okay, and what software are you doing for frame capture?
Like 5 years ago, I used to use iStop Motion, which was a very good consumer level stop motion program. But then around the time I did Call of Fork One Glue, I switched to using Dragon Frame because of its ability to work with a DSLR fairly well, and it's just basically the standard for stop motion things at the moment.
What editing and compositing software are you using?
For editing, I use Premiere Pro, and for compositing, I use After Effects because they just work really well together.
I do agree. Do you have any special lighting that you like to use besides like desk lamps?
We have these LED. We have a set of 3 LED panels that are actually just incredibly useful for this and any like live action stuff that we do.
Yeah, so my lighting setups, they've gotten more complex over the years. It used to be just using a big softbox or a single light source. But my lighting setup contains those 3 lights, occasionally a desk lamp, and then like these weird flashlight things that sort of just have like a small like patch of LEDs on the front that I can use, and I can wrap certain gels around it to make it look like fire and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's basically how my lighting setup works.
Okay. Do you have any special backdrops you like to use, or just green screen backdrops or anything like that?
I try to avoid using green screen whenever possible. In my last few films, I've used it more and more, but it's generally really unpredictable when I try to do stuff with it because of my shallow depth of field. But most times, if I need to use a backdrop, I'll just get a poster board that's colored blue or black or something like that, because they generally work pretty well.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you have any special audio recording equipment for doing your voiceovers?
All the voiceovers are done with a Zoom H6 recorder, I think. Just attached to a dual mic setup, which I don't know the names of those mics, but
No worries.
it's all just done with an H6 recorder.
It's fairly standard.
I'm a fan of the Zooms. They're great.
Yeah.
Do you have a special tripod or any sort of things like sliders or anything like that?
I got a slider like last year, but there's only 2 instances where I've actually used it before, just because I try to do things really quickly and the slider takes up a lot of time. And then I'll just have the tripod I have is just a standard photography tripod with a ball head, so that I can easily set it up and then move around the head of the tripod without having to adjust the legs and all that. But yeah, in terms of any sort of special setups for doing camera movements and stuff like that, I'll generally just move the set in itself instead of like setting up a slider or something like that.
Do you ever just use the camera on the table without a tripod?
Back when I did like films like Legondo and stuff like that, I had a camcorder which made it possible that I could put the camera on the table and just do stuff like that if need be. But the Canon 60D is big enough that it won't really allow that. It won't allow me to get low enough to the table to actually get decent shots.
And where do you typically do your brick filming?
So it's kind of moved around over the years. Back when I first started, I started doing it on a counter next to our kitchen. And so I'd have everything set up on there for basically round the clock, just a pile of Legos and things like that. And it was right next to a window too, which made it really difficult to get good lighting. But then after that, I moved to an upstairs corner in our house where I just set up a table and basically had all my Legos set up around me there. And I did that for like a few years, and that's where I made films like Legondo, and basically most of my oldest stuff like Squad 1066 was all shot up there. But when I when I did Call for One Glue about 4 years ago, I had actually previously moved down to the basement into a studio that our dad has, which is a lot bigger than the corner or the table that I was using before. And so I brought all my boxes and things like that down there, set up 2 tables that I could put my laptop on and make a set on. And that's where I've been ever since. Since it's completely closed off from any windows and lights and things like that, it's pretty easy to set up lights and not have to worry about people walking through or any sort of sunlight getting in and messing up a shot. And so I've been there ever since.
Oh, sounds like a great place for brick filming.
Yeah, that Dave does his in the basement as well. I like to call it the dungeon. Because then I can send him down to the dungeon if I get, irritated at him. Just go down to the dungeon.
So it sounds like you guys got a bunch of commission projects coming out soon or today or whatnot. That's awesome. Are any of them that you can discuss at the moment, or kind of got to keep a tight lip?
Well, we have a few. We did They did another one with stick bots. I don't know if you know what those are.
We do.
So we did a video introducing their green screen for stick bots, and then we're going to be doing another one. I guess you can't really say what they're introducing, but it's introducing another thing for stick bots. And that should be by the end of the summer. And then we have a really fun one that we just did for Lego, which we can't really say what it is, but it should come out in the next couple weeks. And then we have another one for Lego, which we don't really know what it is yet either.
Yeah,
but in the next few days, hopefully we'll know what that is.
Exciting.
And that's direct with Lego, correct?
Well, some of them are done through Tongle.
Tongle, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then one that, the one we don't really know what it is yet is direct through Lego.
That's awesome.
But through Tongle, but direct, so
Okay.
it's hard to explain. So we hope to get more of those direct ones, because that would be awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, say who they. I know you guys, worked on that collab project for the Star Wars thing, but have you actually worked with anybody in person or met any other Brickfilmers in person?
Oh, we visited Brotherhood Workshop.
Yeah, so we got to go out for an award for a video that they did.
The
Tongies with for Jurassic World. The video, what's it called?
Jarring Encounter.
A jarring encounter that we did, and they flew us out for that, and we got to go and meet Kevin Ulrich from Brotherhood Workshop, who's awesome.
He is, agreed, yeah.
Great office, too. They have the most fun place to work in.
Oh, you got to go by his studio?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a nice little setup there, and I think he's brought business into his former employers, so he's got a nice little setup there.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He is.
Yeah. Anybody else that you've met in person besides Kevin?
Yeah, the only other YouTube animator I've met very briefly was, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but like Zach Macias.
Macias, oh, wow.
Nice.
I met him for like 5 seconds at the Tongies.
Okay, you met two of my favorite animators.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. It's actually Dylan Woodley, sorry.
Oh, Dylan. Dylan's another one of my
Dylan's
favorites.
awesome, yeah.
Yeah, we got to get him on the podcast sometime.
I mixed them up. But I met him for like 5 seconds at the Tongies. But that's about it for people I've actually seen in person.
We're Landonburg, Pennsylvania isn't really the
we're out in the
hub
middle
of the film world, but
Is that in the middle of the state?
no, it's right by the Delaware border.
Okay, so you're near Pittsburgh then, sort of.
No, we're south of Philly.
South of Philly.
I mean Philly. I mean Pittsburgh's on the other side of the state. My bad. Okay. So you have composed some of your own music for your brick films?
We work with our neighbor who lived 2 doors down. He composed a lot of the music for some of our work.
For brick films though, the only actual song we've done is Lagondo.
Okay.
For the new one that we just did for Lego, we hired somebody to write the music.
Awesome.
The unannounced thing.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's always been various royalty-free music tracks that I bought online.
Going from Incompetech to Audio Jungle, and that's the whole thing.
We do. We know them well.
Yeah.
So, what frame per second do you normally shoot?
I shoot in 15 FPS, and it's basically been like that since I started.
Okay.
Kris can give you a very detailed explanation why, if you want, but
I've bounced around. I've done 15, 24, and then a couple of times I did 30 for a couple of single second shots. It only took me 5 more minutes. It took longer to set up the set. But 15, all right, that's kind of, I like 15 myself.
Yeah, we feel it's, once you get to 24, I think our thing, or at least the way I've heard Kris described is, 24, it's smoother, but it sort of loses the animation quality and sort of just looks...
It's too real looking.
Yeah, it gets sort of video.
Yeah.
15, I just prefer 15 frames per second because, number one, it's quicker, but it's the point where it's quick to do, but but it's not choppy enough that it looks bad, and it's not smooth enough that it doesn't look like stop motion. Because I think once you get to 24 frames per second, it's you have to work really hard to get it to sort of maintain the stop motion-y vibe without it starting to look either too jittery or too sort of live action. But I find 15 is a good compromise.
Yeah, that's what works for us.
Okay. Yeah, if I was going to switch to 24, I'd probably shoot on the 2s anyway and make it 12 frames per second. So I'm going to stick with 15 myself.
So do you guys have a favorite brick film that you've created?
I mean, more recent one. I like Cauliflower Clunglu is definitely very good. Even though it's one of our older ones, I like the Batman out of character one because I think that's just really good writing gag that I came up with, if I do say so myself.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that one. I know I've seen it, but it's been years.
But it's definitely one of our older ones. So
yeah.
But I thought the writing was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally like the last Cauliflower Clunglu and Kentucky Jackson are my two favorites.
Awesome. All right, I'm not going to go into all your accolades because you can go to your website to look at that. But of film festivals and involvement or awards or whatnot, do you have a certain favorite that really was just complete honor to be involved with or win or nomination or whatnot?
Well, it's always interesting when it's like, we're releasing brick films and they get into it's like, oh, they were invited to this festival for our brick film that we made with Legos in our basement. So that's all. Just that whole experience is always interesting.
I think the Tongies, our most recent sort of awards thing that we had for one of our brick films, was one I was really on to go to because it really is a big official awards show that a lot of really talented people, not just like stop motion animators, but like music people and people who do live action commercials and things like that. Like basically everyone's there, and they really do their best to make it seem like sort of like the Oscars for these different commercials that are all weird and funny and just really creative work there.
In terms of like which festivals have been, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but in terms of like which festivals have been really good, NFTY is always National Film Festival for Talented Youth. They always put on a good festival, and we've gone there with a bunch of their films.
And one of the things that we didn't actually get to go to, but which I thought was kind of an honor, was the Cauliflower Clunglu made it into a lot of genre festivals, like sci-fi and horror festivals.
I think there was some specific, like some Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft related festival.
Yeah, it was the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu-thon or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Wow, yeah.
Now, was there a process of getting your films into these festivals? Did someone go through the effort of filling out applications?
Yeah, so that would be me. So we used to use Without a Box, but now we use Film Freeway, which is a website that basically every film festival in the world uses now. And you can upload all your projects, and then once you've sort of uploaded all the details of the project, you can enter different festivals around the world. And it's all done online, and most of them you do have to pay some kind of fee to enter. But they have different categories, depending on what the festival is.
And they'll help match your film to the correct categories.
It's a really nice website, and it makes it so much easier because I think in the olden days you had to fill out all the forms and send in CDs or DVDs, and now it's all automated.
I mean, we've had a couple of festivals where you still have to do that, and it's like, okay, I mean, this is
Some of the bigger festivals, once you get in, then you do have to send really good quality files of your film and everything.
Right, and that's understandable because they want to show them off, and which is always exciting for people to see, and really cool to see your brick film or whatever film on the big screen. That's a surreal moment.
Yeah, that is fun.
So, Kris, do you listen to any music or podcast TV while you animate?
It's varied throughout the years, actually. I've never listened to podcasts and things like that, but when I first started out, it would just be a playlist of various movie themes and stuff like that, just looping endlessly. And so I've racked up a lot of plays on those certain playlists. But after that, it changed to it changed to different comedians, anyone's that have like videos of themselves like doing their different stand-ups online, and so I listened to those basically on loop for like a year or two. After that, it turned to actually listening to DVD commentaries of various movies while I would animate. So like Pixar movies and just any of my favorite movies that I have on DVD that happen to have a commentary. I'd listen to those for a while until I was basically out. And then more recently, it switched to various books on tape that I would like buy from Audible.com and things like that. So like Harry Potter books and H.P. Lovecraft things are. I would listen to those for quite a while.
Cool.
Sounds like that's good. All right. Do you have a process for creating the brick film, storyboard, animatics, or whatnot? Obviously, Kurtis is writing them, but when it gets passed on from that point.
First, Kris tells me all the things that we can't do. No. After like we get like the script done, it's pretty brief in terms of my pre-production. That like I'll get the script and then I'll just make some storyboards, which are very rough. They're generally just stick figures and various things just to show if this is a close-up shot, medium shot, wide shot, and any sort of specific camera movement I might want for that. Because most times I'm the only one looking at these things, so I won't try to make them legible to anyone else. And then after that, it's just a process of ordering what bricks I need to order on bricklink.com. Then setting up the sets, and then I'll spend like 3 or 4 days animating, depending on how big the certain movie is. If it's a commissioned work, then it's a lot of talking with the company who's producing it and like double checking everything with them, running things past them. But usually everything goes pretty smoothly.
Good.
Okay. Let's see. And you guys are obviously you're partnered on your YouTube channel. Is that correct?
Yeah. We got partnered like around like 5 years ago, but then a year or two after that, we partnered with Machinima, and which is basically exactly the same as being a YouTube partner. Mm-hmm. And so it's been like that ever since.
Okay.
Lego collection. You guys have a favorite set or series Lego collection?
I mean, we both really like Bionicles, just the whole storyline behind that. I really liked that growing up.
Well, yeah,
the sets are pretty cool.
Yeah, when I was like younger, I basically would buy like every Bionicle that would come out, and I have several giant boxes of Bionicles downstairs that I would use to play with and collect. So I'd say that was one of the big ones. But other favorite ones that I've liked are the Orient Expedition ones, which partly inspired in Kentucky Jackson, and then the Exo Force ones, which are kind of a more vague one.
Okay.
We have a lot of Bionicles as well because my son, who's same age as you guys, also was into that when they first came out. They were Bionicles, and then they changed names to something else. Right now, I think they're back to Bionicles again.
Yeah, they stopped it, and now they're like rebooting it somehow. I don't quite get what they're doing, but yeah.
Hopefully I'll get motivated to make Attack of the Bionicles 3.
One day. So how do you guys sort your Lego? By color, by shape?
Let's see. Well, there's the Legos in the studio, and then there's all the other Legos.
I have a weird way of organizing my Legos in my studio. There's only a few Legos I actually like keep in the studio, or Lego sets I keep in the studio, and those are the big Lego modular buildings that cost like $150 for like city backgrounds. I'll keep those because I don't want them to break. In terms of individual Legos, I'll have I've separated my 2x4 Lego bricks into various bins over the years because I've collected so many of various colors like tan, white, black, all those things. But after that, I generally mix things together a bit more.
And you have all your heads.
Yeah, we have the
Like,
heads
I
and the
have-
bodies separate.
Actually, they're not separate, but
Okay.
like I have a giant bin of various pre-made Lego figures that I generally use, like cops and things like that. But then I'll have like a giant mess of Lego hands, legs, and torsos and heads
Yeah, we got
in another bin, and then pretty much just random containers filled with like things that I might use for a house setting or things or various
flora,
items.
fauna.
Items I might use, or then I have a giant bin full of tree items and foliage and things like that. So they're generally not sorted by specific piece, but by the use I might have for them.
Well, that makes sense.
That's cool.
And then outside the studio, we have a couple areas around the house where we just have all our old Lego sets, like
On
On
our
shelves and
dog has
Oh,
a
yeah, the-
affinity for Lego tires. Will find whatever Lego vehicle he can and just eat the tires off of it. So that is sometimes a
been-
pain.
That's funny.
interesting experience over the years.
No, not the tires.
One year for Christmas, we had the dog give Kris basically like a big container full of tires from the dog.
Oh, that's sweet.
I mean, beyond your obvious backgrounds that you make with Lego, do you have any mocks that you make just kind of for non-filming purposes or even for filming purposes that you...
Not really
So-
recently.
Yeah, not recently. I did have like a Flickr account that I would post occasional mocks on, which would be very, very random things, but I don't really do that often. The only intact mock I still have that I made for some reason is like a version of Santa's sleigh that's kind of like basically like a Porsche, but in a Santa's sleigh version. So that's the only thing that's still around.
Okay. And you guys are both, going to college this next fall, or...
And I don't know, a lot of people, some people may not know, you guys, Kris and Kurtis, are twins.
No, actually.
Oh, you're not?
See, I was right.
Oh, no.
Kris is a twin with Nick and Kris.
Oh, my goodness. I had it all wrong. Well, no, so then I'm still right, though.
Okay.
You know the female has to be right. So, but you're still a twin, just not you guys are twins.
Yeah.
Okay, and Nick's your brother, who's also a writer and an actor with you guys.
He doesn't work on like any brick films, but for other live action stuff,
he does
helps
us with
yeah.
that.
Have you guys been doing a lot of the live action
Yeah, we
films?
Yeah, more recently, in the past few years, we've started delving into doing the bigger sort of short film projects each summer, where we'll have a budget and get actors and things like that. And so that's something that is generally like a 3-month process of us sort of working on some sort of script, then filming it, then editing it, and hopefully having it done by the end of the summer. And we've done that for like the past 3 years now.
Yeah, just
Awesome.
working on editing the most recent one, so that should be coming out.
Yeah, hopefully in the
sooner
fall.
rather
We did
than
one a
later.
few months ago.
Okay, we'll look for those. Definitely. And you're currently working on a project at the moment, or
A live action project?
any project?
Yes, we have several going
Oh,
on.
a lot of pokers in the fire.
Yeah, commission things and editing up our live action thing that we shot during the spring.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that.
And do you have any brick filming tips or secrets you'd like to share with us?
I don't know about secrets, but just a general tip for sort of any stop motion work. If someone wants to get into stop motion, is to sort of keep it up, as in you want to just keep making brick films no matter how bad the first ones are going to be. No matter how bad the first ones are, you just keep making little shorts, 30 seconds, 20 seconds, just any amount that you can just so that you can just keep getting that experience and getting just getting better at doing stop motion. Because no one like starts doing stop motion and is immediately like really good at it. They're always going to start basically how like everyone else started, where it's not that great, but over the years, if you keep doing it and just keep doing like consistent works and things like that, you'll get a lot better, and I think they'll be the better for it.
That's very good.
Good advice.
Good advice. Do you have a favorite brick film by someone other than you?
Let's see.
Something that just pops out.
What was the Nick Durant, the behind-the-scenes zombie one? I can't remember what that was called, but that was...
What was that?
I remember that one.
But I don't remember what the first one was.
I think it was Zombie Genesis.
Yeah, Zombie Genesis.
Zombie Genesis, and it was the behind-the-scenes of the making of a zombie movie, and that one was really funny. I really liked that one.
Yeah, I know I have some favorite Lego films. I just can't remember the specific ones. I'd say a bunch of the recent ones by Forest Fire 101 have been actually really good. A lot of it, his action stuff and things like that, are pretty funny.
Yeah, his recent zombie one was really good. It's actually the final two in the Battle of the Bricks on Digital Wizards channel.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if this podcast will come out before the voting's over, but there's still voting going on for between that and Brotherhood's Desolation of... Smog, yeah.
I also like Kevin has been doing some commercial or commission work for Lego where he recreates battles described by children. I don't know if you've seen
the
those.
Ninjago stuff. Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think there were a couple other ones, but I just love that where they put together, whatever the kid is saying, and then he sort of brings that to life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily a film, but I just like that idea.
Yeah, I don't know how he gets so much stuff done at the level he does. He's an amazing animator, and yeah, he's incredible. Are there any brick filmers out there, or even non-brick filmers, like directors out there that have inspired you?
I'd say the person who inspired me the most, especially when I was starting out, was I don't know how exactly to say his name, Spuggisdu, or something like that.
Gareth. Yeah, what to say, Gareth?
His was the brick film that I first saw, one of his Squad 42 things that I thought was really cool and just really inspired me to start doing my own stuff.
Yeah, we love Gareth. We actually bought a Lego set from him once. Which one was that? Is it the cafe? Not the Cafe Corner, is it? I don't remember. It's one of the older ones you couldn't buy anymore. About 4 years ago, but
he's been a good friend for a long time. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he's in our Galactic Smugglers series, and hopefully we'll have one of those coming out in the next few months.
Sweet.
Yeah, somehow found some time to get one in.
Yeah, it's hard to keep doing your own personal stuff too.
It is, yeah, very hard. Do you have a favorite voice actor from a brick film, other than Kurtis, of course?
We're so used to using Kurtis.
Yeah. One that
we've used, or like...
Oh, anybody, just anything, any brick film you've seen, just something that really popped out.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can stick with yourself too. I mean, that's an understandable favorite.
I'm sure there are really a lot of really good voice actors. I just don't. I can't remember at the moment.
I'm still thrown off by the twin thing. I don't know why. Kris, Kurtis, just with a similar name. I just assumed. You should never assume. There's my slap in the face, right? But
well, yeah. So Nick and Kris are 18, and Kurtis graduated from Emerson College, and he is 23.
Oh, okay. And was that in a film or writing or?
Film production.
Film production, awesome. And Kris, you're
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I look
So
forward to...
I meant both of your boys, two of the three are going to be off to college soon.
Yes, that is correct.
So that's going to be a little bit difficult, isn't it? As a mom to mom.
Yeah, but we hope to sort of keep working, and we're trying to find Kris some space in Boston now that he can set up the equivalent of our basement, and so hopefully we can sort of keep doing that kind of stuff.
Well, if you get like lonely while they're off at college and you want some people to, come make some noise in your house, we'll be more than happy to join you and hang out. And
More than welcome. Come. I'll be sitting in the corner crying.
Oh, I'll bring tissues. I have plenty of those.
Well, I'm sure we've missed asking you a few questions, but hopefully we'll get an opportunity in a few years, maybe after you've had a big project go viral or get involved with something elsewhere. But it's definitely been a pleasure talking with you guys.
And we will make sure that everyone has the links to see all of your work and all of your accomplishments. And Kurtis, maybe we can work with you and you can voice for us in one of our films.
Be happy to.
We'd love to have you, so I'll have to be in touch about that.
Yeah, well, thanks for
having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
for
so
taking
much
the
for
time.
joining us. It's been fun talking to you guys, all three of you. And we really look forward to seeing all the new things that you guys have coming out. Best of luck to all of you. Good luck in college. Enjoy the experience.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to talking to you guys soon.
All right. Well, thank
All
you.
right, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks to Kris, Kurtis, and Amy for being so generous with their time, and thanks to everyone who stuck with us through this entire podcast. Please check out our sponsors and partners on the Brickfilmers Guild homepage, and don't forget to check out Something's Awry Productions' amazing brick films on their YouTube channel and website. If you would like to sponsor one of our podcasts, please contact me through one of our social media sites. We'd also like to thank Kevin MacLeod for his wonderful music, which we use for our podcast and in our brick films. Until next time, bye y'all!